Hello and welcome to my review of Doctor Who Season 1. Oh, la 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 la. Ho 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 ho. Tra la 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 la. Ho ho. Episode 6, Dalek. The Doctor and Rose land in an underground base in the year 2012. They're apprehended by security and taken to see Henry Van Statten. The Doctor finds out that Henry Van Statten is keeping a living creature within the depths of his base, and Van Statten takes the Doctor to see the living creature. Meanwhile, one of the employees, Adam Mitchell, is told to look after Rose, and the Doctor recognizes the creature as a Dalek and warns Van Statten to kill it before it kills everyone. Instead of heeding the Doctor's warning, Van Statten detains the Doctor and runs experiments on him. Rose goes to see the Dalek and touches it, which makes it spring to life and go on a killing spree. After the massive killing spree, the Dalek tries to take Rose captive, and the Doctor tries to kill the Dalek with a massive space gun. But Rose talks the Doctor out of it, and the Dalek kills itself. Most of the time when I recap an episode, it takes a lot longer than that, but I was able to cover most of the plot by saying massive killing spree, because that's what this episode is. It's just a Dalek going on a killing rampage and murdering everyone. However, I'd say that it's the best possible way they could have reintroduced the Daleks into Doctor Who, because the design of the Dalek doesn't look very threatening. You see it, and you aren't thinking that this is the most powerful being in the universe. But then you watch Dalek and you see that power. You can watch this episode and believe that these lumps of metal are unstoppable forces of destruction. This is definitely the most emotional episode yet. This episode just shoots a rocket launcher into your feelings. That's just the best way I can describe it. However, awesomeness aside, this episode does have a couple of problems. I mean, you expect me to believe that the Doctor couldn't hold that door open for a single solitary second longer? Oh, and if this is how fast a Dalek can run upstairs, and this is how fast Rose and Adam can run upstairs, then how the hell did the Dalek end up right behind them? I'm not sure what I'm supposed to feel about Diana Goddard. I mean, she gets a lot of screen time, but name one single solitary character trait about her. Rose has pretty much gotten over her inner bitch. I haven't complained about Rose in a while because there hasn't really been anything to complain about, and I think the dark days of Rose's character are pretty much over. Some people have complained about the brief romance between Rose and Adam, but this is all Adam and no Rose. Adam's the one making the moves here. Adam generally seems like a nice enough guy, but we see a few flicks of asshole underneath that. Like when that Dalek was being tortured and he didn't even care. Or this scene.
Great big alien death machine, defeated by a flight of stairs.
I feel like Henry Van Statten's character developed in a very minor way this episode. At the beginning he was the cocky asshat. You can tell because he had the cocky asshat mustache. And he didn't listen to the Doctor and his instructions, but once people started dying, he realized that the Doctor knows what's up and started listening. And finally, the Doctor. Holy shit, the Doctor. I know in every single episode I always say that Christopher Eccleston was good as the Doctor, and, you know, he always is. But in this one, he was beyond good. He was beyond even fantastic. He played vulnerable well, he played raging well. Everything about Christopher Eccleston's performance in this episode was was just amazing. It was so dramatic, and when he's talking to this Dalek, you can honestly believe that this Dalek is responsible for the death of his species. Oh, and I just have one thing to say about the Dalek itself.
You would make a good Dalek.
New best line in Doctor Who so far. Some of the dyeing effects look a bit cheesy and dated, but other than that, everything looks really good, and the rustic effects on that Dalek look badass. Other than that, there's not really many effects to talk about. Well, this isn't an episode without flaw, it's an episode without major flaw. While everything's not perfect, the things that aren't perfect aren't too not perfect. Does that make sense? Yes. Do I answer my own questions? Of course you don't. Anyways, thanks to this episode we know that a Dalek is a force to be reckoned with. And that is awesome. 9 out of 10. I'll see you next time for my review of Doctor Who Season 1, Episode 7, The Long Game.